Hey, champions. Yesterday wasn't anything too special, nothing I want to really update you on. It was really just me recovering from taking Thursday off. So, recovering from recovering, if you want to put it that way. The live stream went really well, and I was so excited that so many of you came out to watch me talk about my experience writing the rulebook. There was a lot of great conversations with John Miller, so I appreciate so much that he came out to watch. Um, and Flesh and Bone for making a special appearance in the chat there. It was a really, really great time. So if you missed that, go watch that video. It should be up in YouTube, Facebook, should be everywhere. So today, I want to kind of follow up my series from last week where I talked about... What card did I talk about last time? Can't remember off the top of my head. It's okay. You probably remember better than I do. So this week, we're going to be talking about the Angel of Retribution, because that was asked in the comments if I could do a deep dive, and I started realizing there's so much to talk about when it comes to this card, when it comes to this artwork, how it changed not just the meta of Genesis or the way we play Genesis, but it also changed the world of Jolaura and all the lore and all the myth. A lot of it revolves around the angels. So I'm going to be doing a deep dive not just into how the art grew, some decisions that went behind designing the card, but also going into the lore, the myths, and things you may have missed if you weren't paying really special attention to the artwork, to the flavor text. So let's dig into this. Let's throw the Angel of Retribution artwork up on the screen. This is kind of nice. I can lean back. I don't have to sit up a little bit taller. Starting off with the Angel of Retribution artwork, it's an absolutely amazing piece. This is done by Leslie Ann Cam. She was the first artist to work on the game. She was one of the first people who started co-collaborating the game with me. I had a lot of people play testing, but this was the first time someone else came in and started doing something for the game beyond what I could do. And it was a really, really great experience. I loved working with her. And she didn't just stop with the Angel. A lot of the most iconic cards in the game, a lot of the cards I play with the most, she did the artwork for them as well, including Bolt Shock, including Vampiricus. So I'm really, really excited that she did this piece and that its art has lived on. Though there's been other iterations of the Angel, this is the one that people attribute to the most. So where did this artwork start? Let me throw up one of the earlier revisions. This is very different than what you think it was. Unfortunately, I don't have the initial sketches. I wish I did. After a while, you just can't find those things anymore. And it's been a very long time since she started working on this piece. So this is the earliest revision of this artwork I could find. It looks very different, doesn't it? Leslie is traditionally an anime artist. If you ever go to Seattle, you'll find her at all the anime conventions. At her booth, she sells amazing artwork. So if you ever are in that Washington State area and there's a convention going on, go check it out. You'll probably find her. And traditionally, she does all the anime artwork. So she's actually was the one who did anime Idris, anime Nubia, anime Raha, and anime Malik. So I guess that was a little bit of a spoiler. Yes, there is an anime Raha. It hasn't come out yet, but when it does, be excited. It looks amazing. And I'm still trying to convince her to do all the other champions and anime. So those may come out in time as collector pieces. So when I got this artwork, I loved it. I did. But it wasn't the tone I wanted for Genesis. I wanted a Genesis to have that more realistic viewpoint. But you can already see in here that the artwork was committed to have 3 arms. What happened was when she first did the sketch, she didn't know for the right arm if it was going to hold the spear or if it was going to be held up like that with no weapon in it. Because the Angel was supposed to be able to attack people on the ground from the air, I wanted her to have a throwing weapon along with a close range weapon. But the idea of having the third arm, when I saw the sketch, I didn't know that she was debating what to do with the arms. And I was like, awesome, 3 arms, go for it. And she really just kept it in, and I was really, really excited about that. So then I asked her, let's change the tone from doing the anime thing to doing a more realistic piece. And she started working on this revision, which is a lot closer to what we see in the final piece. However, what she didn't realize, and this came out through conversation, and I learned a lot at this point working with an artist, is that our template is more geared towards vertical artwork, where Magic the Gathering, their template is more geared toward horizontal artwork. And this changed a lot. So she decided, okay, I have to start bringing the wings in instead of having them flourish outwards. Let's bring them tighter in. And she could spend a little bit more time working on the background. So she went from this to this piece, which is what we have as the final artwork. And there's so much there that you don't get to see when you just have the card's artwork. If you look towards the right side beyond the frame, you can see that there's a little war going on. There's dead bodies in the background. There are these little piles of just armor, weaponry, all that kind of stuff just back there. And this created the onset of the war. And this started changing a lot of the flavor that I was going for. One is I had to justify why the angel had 3 arms. 2, I had to talk about what was going on in this war itself. And instead of making the angels into the saviors, I thought this was a good point to explore the idea of transitioning the angels from the saviors into a natural summon. And the key thing to remember about Genesis is that when it comes to summons, they're not sentient. They don't have a will. They don't have an understanding of who they are. They don't have an understanding of philosophy. So the angels we have in our mythologies, in Christianic mythologies or Islamic mythologies, they have, yes, they are doing God's will, but at the same time, they have some sentience. They are aware. And these angels are not supposed to be at the point. So if they were more like monsters, they're more like creatures, animals, who are just purely on hunting and gathering and feeding themselves and fulfilling biological urges. 1, why would they want to look so much like humans? And 2, what do they feed off of? And the best thing to kind of show that correlates back to our understanding of angels is worship. So they don't feed off of traditional fuel. They feed off of a more spiritual fuel. And they want people to adore them, to be able to make sacrifices for them, be able to risk their own sanity for them. That type of admiration gives them their power. And then the other side to it is what happens instead of being the saviors in the war, they're the ones who instigated the war. They're the ones who came in and were like, no, people need to be fighting for our love to give us their admiration. And that's where the angels started changing a lot of the face of Jolaura. So the next piece I'm going to throw up, here's the full artwork again without that border or the template in there. Now let's talk about the Jolaura Angel Retribution. The one thing that Damian wanted to move from here, so he had the criteria. He had to make another angel that was male this time, because one thing we wanted to explore, especially when we were redoing artwork between Beta and J, is we want to show that these creatures had genders. Just like, dogs or cats, gender is important. It's a good way to show variety within a single creature type. Because if it was just the same angel in a different pose or something like that, then as a player, you have no confirmation the angels could look different at all. Now, this angel looks drastically different. And what we were trying to go for here is this understanding of how are the angels actually perceived in the world? How do they interact in the world? And what makes them different? So the one thing to note about angels is that their corporeal form is based around the person who's worshiping them. Everyone will look at the same angel and see it in a different way based on what they perceive is the perfect form. And this is really what makes angels kind of messed up in a way, because they will tap into your mind, figure out what you believe the perfect angel should look like, and then become that, but with a slight defect, with something slightly off. So the first angel had 3 arms. This one does 2. You can see 2 of them are holding the spear, 1 of them is holding the sword, but it also has 3 eyes. And it was supposed to be, from the perspective of the person who's worshiping it, it's really close, but just slightly off. And this is its own kind of like the world fighting back on what it is. Now, I know this video is going to be really long. I apologize for that. I think having a full deep dive into the angels is going to be really, really cool. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. If you think it was too long, let me know. Then next time I won't do a deep dive on a particular card. I'll keep it more surface level. But there are a few cards I want to jump into to show you the evolution of the angel. So the next one I want to jump into is Angel's Kiss from Beta. And this one was really the separation of what the angel really is versus what we see it in its corporeal form. This is the same angel from Angel Retribution. It's just in her true form. Before she becomes corporeal, she is a spirit. She is an non-physical entity that feeds off of your worship. When it's able to tap into your mind, then it starts realizing what it should turn into. So one thing to note here, this landscape that we're on is the same landscape that's in the background of the Angel of Retribution artwork. This is before the Angel of Retribution became corporeal, before all the dead bodies are slowing just everywhere. You still have the war going on. There's still a lot of weapons, discarded weapons everywhere. But at the same time, this is early on in that fight, before people have died. The angel is there trying to feed on people, trying to find someone who is hopeless and giving them false hope so that it can gain that worship, get its corporeal form, and move forward. And the quote on this card is very important when it comes to that. So I'm not going to give it all away, but let's read this quote. So the war is won when the angels come. Soldiers rally and demons run. When the angels come, champions respond. When the light has dawned, darkness dismissed with her simple kiss. When the angels come. And this poem is incomplete in a way. And if you go back to reading, I think, chapter 2 or chapter 3 of the Akashic Codex, you'll read the rest of the poem. And it's supposed to give you the sense that the angels are this beacon of light, this hope that is embracing Jolaura. But in reality, there's something much, much more malicious. So now I want to move on to Angel's Embrace. So Angel's Kiss, unfortunately, was not meta relevant. So we had to make another card that was more playable, and that became Angel's Embrace, which then had a different tone on its take on angels. So something I want to point out about Angel's Embrace is the opening line. When the angels first arrived on Jolaura, they were a blessing. So think about that. That means that the humans, the people on Jolaura, saw the arrival of angels. They weren't there before the humans. The humans were there first, then the angels arrived, which gives a sense that there was something more at play here than the idea that they were just guardians of the humans. The new quote that's going to be on Angel's Embrace when we get to 2nd edition, it's the king is so obsessed with these creatures. His belief built upon their word. They say what I want them to say. It really is too easy. And this is from Nubia in Akashic Codex, part 1, so the Welcome to Jolaura part, chapter 9. So go read that chapter. It has a good deep dive into what the angels are doing into this world, and how the entire war that we're really engulfed into in Welcome to Jolaura and Raise are really the machinations of the angels. Last 2 things I want to show are some hidden details that are inside it. So one thing is this mural that shows up in the cathedrals of Varese. this is a really cool mural because this actually isn't the first time we've seen this mural. It's shown up one time before, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But this is the story of Vadhis. How did it come into play? So the first artwork on the left is the angels leading the people from Vishud towards, in the second artwork, River Nai, which we've seen in the card River Nai, so Protector of Nai. This water has really changed what it was for humans, because you went from a very dry, very violent landscape over to a place that was lush, that was flourishing, that the animals weren't so rabid, and people could spend time doing more than just hunting and gathering. They started building things. They built buildings. They created agriculture. The world changed, and they anointed someone as a king. And this is a very important story arc for the foundation of what Jolaura is, because the angels separating the humans from the people who stayed in Vishud to the people who moved towards Vadhis, this created that internal conflict. And it was the angels who did it. Now, where did we see this these murals or these images before? It's actually in the Vadhis arena. If you look at the center, there's 3 different artworks, and these 3 artworks are the one in the, let's say, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock position. That is the angels leading the people to Vadhis. Then you have that 2 o'clock position, which is the people settling in Vadhis, and then that 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock position are the people creating the landscape of creating, anointing a king. So the angels play a very big role in everything when it comes to Jolaura, the storyline, and it's actually really cool for me that the angels have a very big play in the meta of the game as well, because really the war is around the angels and what they're doing to the people of Jolaura, and that all kind of ties together of creating a really cool dynamic parallel between the storyline and what's happening in gameplay. All right, long video over. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments. What's your favorite card? Is there anything you'd like me to do another deep dive into? A lot of these cards have way more behind the scenes than just the card itself. So I'd love to do more of these deep dives. If you want me to keep them shorter, let me know. If you would like a little bit more detail, I can dig into that more. Just give me your feedback in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.